Hello everyone and welcome to round 7 of the ARC Championship Series here at Circuit de Sainte Croix near the French Alps here in France. Looking like a good day here, and I'm joined in commentary by Kobu GT. Kobu, how are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Lateral? Glad to be here, glad to commentate another race here at Sainte Croix with ARC people. This is going to be a great race today. Hopefully we can see a lot of upsets. I'm expecting the GTR to succeed in these long straights with little winding curves, but not too much that it'll unsettle it.
Well, we will find out as we cover the field as the cars are starting their outlap. First team we have on deck is Team Bull, who sadly cannot make it with us today, featuring PKMZ 30 and Azron GTS. We have Lemon Tea Racing featuring Lemon Pen and Thomas GT, who also is not here today in the BMW M3. We have Team Honey Badger, this time featuring both drivers, Dark Creek Slark and Dance 303 in the Lexus RCF. MatCon Racing featuring Matt Wing and Defcon AC, however, Defcon AC is not here today. We have Nissan Red Bull Racing featuring Balcon 21 and CJ2041 in the Nissan GTR. Racing featuring Alex Rogers and Mai Sabloy in the Porsche 911. And the Beatles featuring CRubennnn and John Swifts in the Volkswagen Beetle. Now again, I want to draw attention to the current championship standings. Right now we have Dance 303, the current championship leader, with 209 points. CRubennnn in second with 191, and Balcon 21 in third with 180. Defcon in fourth, and PKMZ in fifth. Thomas Mr. TT, who again is not here. Matt Wing in seventh. Lemon Pen in eighth. Swifty Logo in ninth, and Alex Rogers in 10th. And currently, your constructors leader are the Beatles with 293 points, followed by Team Honey Badger with 273 points.
Very close in the constructors there, as well as in the driver's standing. Anyone can really win this one. Sainte Croix is a unforgiving circuit. With it being so long, any mistake and you're just out of the draft of the person in front of you, or if you're in front, that one mistake can put you back in the battle with everyone else if you're trying to get away.
I would have to agree, and spending some time in the practice session, some of the cars that looked strong, the Porsche 911 was looking pretty strong in the hands of Alex Rogers, especially here before we started qualifying. We do know the Lexuses have been very strong historically and here at the track, featuring both drivers now this time. One thing to point out with Dark Creek Slark is that he will be serving a 3-place grid penalty regardless of where he qualifies, and he will have to serve a drive-through penalty within the first 3 laps of the race. And within that penalty, he will not be allowed to take any fuel or a new set of tires. So that will hurt him at the start of the race, but he is finally here, going to help score some points for that Lexus Team Honey Badger team. As we have some drivers now halfway through a lap, about to set a first lap time. Right now we're on with Dance 303, the current championship leader, leading the pack here at Sainte Croix. As they are currently in the last sector, going up towards the last corner. We will see what this lap is here very soon, braking hard into that very fast left-hander on the front straight now. Crossing the line momentarily, we will see the time, and it's going to be a 2:08.815. Not the fastest lap, but it's a good lap to start out nonetheless. But then, as I say that, Balcon 21, as you mentioned, that GTR very powerful here with a 2:07.3. Balcon 21 with a vengeance here, trying to prove that his two competitors in the championship, he means business today.
Yep, I think the one thing that Balcon is going to have advantage over in comparison to the Porsche and the Lexus and even the Beetle is that he's going to have superior straight line speed, and with these a few straightaways that he's going to have to deal with, With very little cornering, he's not going to be losing much speed, and he's just going to pull away. And if he's going to sit on pole, it could be a prospect to what we might see for the entirety of this race, pending any accidents or tire wear issues.
Definitely. And as he is starting his second lap here, he does have the draft of the AMG of Matt Wing in front of him, so he could see an improvement on that lap. One thing I do know is that 2:07.3 is currently the fastest lap I've seen any of the ARC drivers do in both the qualifying and or practice sessions, I should say, that we had previously. That is currently the fastest lap of any of these Tier A drivers I have seen. So that is an absolutely outstanding lap by Bow, and I don't expect anyone to at least beat it, at least not anytime soon. But currently, Dark Reef Slark, the driver who does have a penalty, currently in second. Alex Rogers in the 911 in third, and Dan's 303 in fourth, your championship leader, and Sabloy also in the 911, currently rounding out the top 5. Right now we have CRubennnn, driver who is currently second in the championship. Not very strong here. The Beetle is typically a car you see very fast and windy courses. But here at Sainte Croix there is some long straights, and I do believe the Beetle is losing out here. We know Ruben has been very vocal about the Beetle not being strong here. So this might not be a very good race for him. However, you never know. His tire wear strategy is usually far superior to the other team, usually going for that one stop, and we know he's typically much better on those tires. So anything could happen in the course of a race, but in qualifying, I don't expect him to be up there.
Yeah, that poses an interesting issue. That the Beetle just doesn't have the top end speed that it might need. However, this could be interesting here. CRubennnn is currently following Swifty Logo in the Beetle, and he just made the overtake. From what I feel, Swifty Logo has been sort of rolling that draft for CRubennnn. Maybe they're trying to get CRubennnn up there so he can get a good starting position and possibly even draft off the GTR throughout the race. That could very well make a good play in terms of strategy to try and get up there instead of, just succumbing to his car's weaknesses.
I would have to definitely agree. Having the teamwork in qualifying, especially on a long track like Sainte Croix, is definitely what you want to see, as we do see his teammate in the background pulling into the pits for a new set of tires. But CRubennnn, we will see him across the line and go third, so that drafting definitely did work to put him up there in the leaderboards, which is good to see, as we will see a good, interesting race on our hands. However, we do see Alex Rogers currently in second, so he has improved. Dark Reef falling back to fourth, and Matt Wing still in that fifth place. Currently, Dan's 303, a driver who I mentioned is very strong here. Currently has yet to set a good lap, but Bow 21 still sitting easy at the top of the leaderboard.
Yep, I'm currently following Dan's right now as he follows to the line. He's going to go ahead and hit into the pits, so we'll go ahead and take a look at another Matt Wing also into the pits. So this looks about to be their stopping point for their first pit. 20-minute qualifying, so probably going to see somewhere around maybe 16 minutes for their second pit stop.
Just want to go on board with Bow 21, as now he's starting a new flying lap on a fresh set of tires. So we'll go with the onboard lap with him around Sainte Croix here at turn 1, a very fast 90-degree right-hander. Only have to brake very slightly to get on the throttle as soon as you can. We're going to come up towards turn 2, which you want to take with as much throttle as you can. Very bumpy and a lot of elevation change, so you have to hold that car, take the apex as big as you can, as he is purple in the first sector with those new set of tires. Going to come up here towards a very, very tight left-hander. It's very easy to get this corner wrong. The apex is at a very weird part of the corner. It comes up very late. But here you have a little straightaway here with a little kink towards the left, as again, you see Matt Wing in the distance. Take the apex, just try to carry as much speed as you can. Now on this launch straightaway, where the GTR will finally be able to stretch its legs here on the lap. He is down in the second sector. But we're going to come up here to this very 180-degree turn, very fast. You want to carry as much speed through this as you can. as you will have a very tight braking point coming up here as you take the right-hander onto the bridge. Get the apex just right, follow it a little bit wide, get as close to the arm as you can. He gets a little squirrely on the exit there, but now he's on the bridge. We will see the split as he crosses the line. Down by 2.5, almost 2.5 seconds, so not a good sector from back there. And here another fast left-hander coming up here, and then a couple sweepers, right-hander and then a left-hander. Long sweeping left-hander, which will lead into another tight right-hander, again with a little bit of a later apex. Getting it now, back on the throttle as soon as you can. Carry as much speed as you can, as there will be a very fast left-hander which will lead onto the front straight. We're going to see now braking past the 200 board, almost right before the 50, dipping 2 tires into the green, back on the throttle, on the exit curb. He's going to dive into the pits.
So one of the things there is that the turn, not just before the bridge, but the one before that, he did take a little conservatively. I do think he could have taken that a little bit faster, and that's where I believe he missed out a little bit on his time. I think once he had seen that he was slow through that corner, he went ahead and abandoned the lap and went ahead and focused on trying to get back to the pits as fast as possible.
Right now we're following Alex Rogers, currently a second place driver, almost 4/10 down from pole position, being back 21 and almost half a second up over CRubennnn in third. Alex Rogers, a late joiner to the championship, did very strong. His 3 races that he has raced have been qualified in pole position, I believe, on both of them. And he finished, I believe, yes, he won the last round at Catalunya. Here is currently at second place at Sainte Croix. Alex Rogers, a great fill-in for the leaving Gee Thanks Obama. Definitely proving his mettle against his teammate, and after joining the championship so late, I believe he's currently sitting 7th in the points after missing, I believe it was the first 4 rounds of the championship. So very strong showing from him. I expect great things from him next season. Currently we have CRubennnn still in third as I'll let you speak now, as I have been speaking a lot lately.
Don't worry about it, then. So Alex Rogers, yes, definitely a very, very strong racer. He was actually coming into the second sector, was slightly ahead, but with the straight line speed of the GTR, you can see that his sector time was now less than 2/10 faster than his previous best. 2/10 faster would put him at a 2:07.5, and that is still 2/10 slower than what he needs to get. Now, 3/10 here, almost 4/10. So if he gets this sector perfect, he might get pole position here.
It's very possible. It's very easy to get this last sector right. You want to brake as late as you can, but you also want to take the corner as tight as you can. He is not as tight as he could be, but you might have been able to get on the throttle a little bit earlier. Very quick coming out of the corner, about 170 out of the throttle on the straightaway. Going to cross the line with a 107.3, almost taking pole position, off by 1/100th.
Yep, and at this point, it's Alex Rogers. He's going to be rushing to the pits. He wants to get another set of tires. He's got less fuel. Let's see if he can improve here. Bauk now on another hot lap as he comes around. Looking down through the grid, there hasn't been much action, so let's go ahead and follow in with Bauk here on his hot lap. So now he's coming up here onto this left-handed kink. This is going to be where the GTR excels the Godzilla here with its straight line speed. This is where it gets most of its time here, the bridge and the first straightaway. He wants to go ahead and take this corner deep into, brake hard, get a really good line where he's not. Now he's going a little too wide here. He rubs against the wall. Yeah, that's very unfortunate. He wanted to, go in. He wants a nice out in out type of apex where he comes out wide, hits the apex very deep, and then he comes out wide again on the power because the GTR just likes to come out really fast in those corners. So he comes here, left-hander, once again, gets a little squirrely on the tail end. I think he's going to want to go ahead and pit again and maybe try once more.
Definitely. He's currently 3/10 down on the last one. We'll see the sector time. I expect it to be worse. Yep. Oh, only a 10th, so he has gained in that sector, so he could possibly still improve. I'll follow him until the end of this lap, but one thing, or one name I want to draw attention to is currently Matt Wing, a driver we haven't seen a lot of attention with in the championship. I was going to mention third, but we see Dance303 now taking that third place for Matt Wing, as Buck 21 now going to cross the line, but he hits the wall on the exit of the last corner. That's going to hurt him. He's going to dive into the pits for a new set of tires right away. But as I was saying, Dance303, your concurrent championship leader, sitting third place on the leaderboard now, kicking Matt Wing out of third, a driver who I was going to mention. We haven't seen a lot of. His best finish was at round 4 at the Nürburgring, I believe it was. He did the one stop on the mediums, and it worked out for him. Currently on the racing softs, trying to get the best lap that he can. We'll see if he does go for the one-stop mediums. I don't think it'll work out for him here on this track. It's a very quick track. You need the grippy tires to, especially in that first sector with that sweeping left-hander and right-hander after turn 2. So I believe the racing softs are the tire for here. But Matt Wing, that AMG, finally starting to show his colors here at Sainte Croix.
Yep, I think the one good thing here is that CJ goes up into 4th with his new qualifying time. Matt Wing, one of the things here is that I think he benefits from not having too much technicality in this circuit. You can go very fast. There's only a few corners where you'll need to really focus on your braking zone. Otherwise, everywhere else is pretty much free game in terms of what kind of line you want to take. Each car is unique, so you know, I know the GTR likes to have a wider exit so it can carry more of that straight line speed, where I believe the Mercedes is a little more, it wants to keep things tight and neat. So definitely an advantage for Matt Wing. I think he's going to come into his own for this round.
As you mentioned, CJ 2041 taking 4th place. That's a uncharacteristic of CJ. Normally a driver, not to be rude, but we normally see him towards the back of the grid, and Berkey's qualifying in 4th. So I don't know if him and his teammate Bauk have finally been talking and trying to help him improve in that GTR, but CJ finally getting a decent qualifying position. We'll see if he is able to keep it throughout the race, and I want to cover your current top 10. Right now we have Bauk 21 currently in pole position with a 2:07.342. Alex Rogers in 2nd place in the Porsche 911. Dance303, your championship leader, in 3rd place. CJ 2041 in 4th. Matt Wing in 5th. CRubennnn in 6th. Dark Reef Slug, who does have a 3-position grid place penalty, in 7th. Matt Swifty logo in 8th. Save Blowing in 9th. And Lemon Pen currently in 10th. Now, currently, Lemon Pen is a driver we have seen very strong in the past several rounds. We saw him win at Mountain Panorama, and at Catalunya, he was on the podium in the top 3, but not very strong here at Sainte Croix.
Maybe out of practice. Maybe he underestimated the circuit. A lot of his times that he's setting here is very reminiscent of his beginning in this championship. You know, a lot of mistakes. Hopefully he can get it sorted out before the race starts.
Well, maybe he was just waiting for the camera to be on him, as in that first sector on his flying lap. Now he was purple. We'll see if he's still purple coming up to the 2nd sector. Very quick in that entry, as we saw in previous rounds, as he's going to cross the 2nd sector. Green, not purple, but he is up by 5/10 over his previous best lap, which I do believe his best lap was in 2:13, which isn't very quick, but he's very much improving here. I do know he wasn't able to get a lot of practice time in. He wasn't, not quite getting a lot of practice as some of the other drivers that like Alex Rogers was, or Swifty Logo, or Dark Reef were getting. But he's making the best of it, up by almost 7.5 seconds, so he's finally setting a good lap here. We'll see where he qualifies, as we'll keep the camera on him. exiting the bridge corner now, going through the right and left-hand sweepers in the 4th sector. Now going to head towards the start of the 5th sector. We'll see the split time. Up by almost 20 seconds, 19 and a half to be exact, as he takes the tight right-hander, takes all the exit curb, trying to carry as much speed as he can. I'm going to head towards the last corner, flat on the gas. Going to be braking just before the 50 board. Very good corner from him, on throttle as soon as he can. Carries it wide, just scrapes the wall, but that shouldn't hurt him too much. It looks like it'll be a good lap from him. It is a 2:08.1, which is good enough to put him currently 7th place.
Yeah, that was very interesting out of CRubennnn. He seemed to have finally put a lap together, but he was definitely having a ton of issues previously, setting very, very
as I just want to point out, Alex Rogers did take pole position, but on the exit of the tight left-hander, he did spin it and make contact with the wall, so he does have damage. However, that is not a significant thing here, as damage is repaired. Swifty Logo did manage a very fast lap with a 2:07.8. Now the qualifying is over, it will mess up here, so as we will open up the live timing and compare laps. Currently, your pole position is Alex Rogers with Bauk 21 in. Let's see here.
This puts Bauk at
2nd place.
Yep.
With your 3rd place being Swifty Logo in the Beetle, finally out qualifying his teammate CRubennnn. With 4th being CJ with a 2:07.9. 5th should be Dan's 3:03 with a 2:08 flat, followed by CRubennnn in the Beetle, and then I believe followed by Matt Wing, and then Lemon Pen, and then it should be Dark Reef Slark, and then Save Loy.
Yep, it's going to be an interesting grid. We've got, we spoke about it earlier, but CJ and Bauk in those GTRs, they both set a 2:07 time, which is, a top 4 grid for those 2 cars respectively. That's very, very good for that team. One for Bauk, who is driving for possible championship lead, as well as maybe even making up some points in the Constructors' Championship.
I do know the GTRs, the Red Bull Racing GTRs, have been struggling in the Constructors, even though we have seen Bauk performing excellently well, and they passed several races. His teammate CJ hasn't been quite been able to match his performance, but that could change here at Sainte Croix, as CJ finally seems to have figured it out. As we see now, the Dark Reef Slark will get his grid place penalty, which I do believe will put him in the last place, as he has a 3-place grid penalty, and I do believe he qualified around 7th, so he will be starting last, and he still has the drive-through penalty to serve within the first 3 laps of the race. So not too good from Dark Reef Slark after his first race back in the ARC Championship Series, as we will be starting the test race, or the test race, where we try out the first lap corner, make sure there's not too much contact, we don't have a NASCAR wreck, as you were.
Yep, the first corner, always the most exciting.
So again, your grid: Alex Rogers in first, Bauk 21 in 2nd, Swifty Logo in 3rd, CJ 2041 4th, Dan's 3:03 5th, CRubennnn 6th, Matt Wing 7th, Lemon Pen 8th, Save Loy 9th, and Dark Reef with his grid penalty in last place. As the lights are on for the test start and they go out, we will see Alex Rogers getting away a little bit slowly, but we see Swifty Logo getting an excellent start, taking the lead as it looks like we're going to be towards the back of the field. It's 3 wide in the first corners. We see Dark Creep Slark making a lot of contact with CRubennnn on the start, putting 2 tires into the grass. Very interesting test start by these drivers, as we see now a little bit of contact in the back of the field, but overall pretty clean. As we will see the drivers back out now as they will start the actual final. But overall, I'd say that was a pretty good start. A little bit of action, but not too much. As we do now get the warning of 2 minutes to the actual start of the race. So now we know that if we have 2 minutes to start, I'm going to ask you your opinion. Who do you see being very strong in this race here at Sainte Croix?
It's an interesting question. You know, one of the things that is, you know, we never really account for like the different strategies these drivers are going to come up with, and who knows? It's a interesting question. If CRubennnn, you know, like he always has, manages his tires, he could go, you know, most of the race, you know, on a 1-stop, and that is different to say like the cars of the GTR, or even the Merc. Those 2 cars, not too great on tire wear, and that could definitely play into the strategies. I definitely imagine 2 stops this race. If I had to be a betting man, I'm gonna go with the GTR though.
I would have to agree with you just on the simple fact of we finally see Bauk 21's teammate CGA 2041 finally being with him in the top 5 of the grid now instead of towards the back of it. So I do believe this might be why we see a strong GTR race here. But again, as you mentioned, you never count out CRubennnn with his tire wear and tire strategy. I don't think today is Dan's 303's day. You know, the Lexus is strong, but Dan's, as we saw in qualifying, not quite as good on the track, and his teammate is farther back, so we might see a change in the Constructors' Championship. Possibly we might see the Honey Badgers falling back farther. But I would say top 3 is probably, I'm just saying Bauk is finally going to get his first win. I'm going to throw a curveball, say Alex Rogers is second, and I'm going to say CRubennnn third.
I can see that. However, you know, Lemon Pen can maybe make it up somewhere. He might be able to put together a faster lap than what he showed us in qualifying, and he might, you know, find that consistency that he's been showing for the last couple rounds. Hopefully we can see him fighting with the rest of the pack instead of lurking near the bottom end.
I think he will definitely move up, whether it's through racing or pit strategy. I don't see him making it to the top 5. That M3 doesn't seem too strong here, but it'll definitely be an interesting race, especially with someone like Swifty Logo, who we just saw in the practice start taking the lead, which could change how everything works, especially if he decides to maybe take it a little bit easy, maybe slow down some of the other drivers, maybe allow CRubennnn to close the gap, have a little bit of team orders there. So it'll definitely be interesting, and we will see what happens as we are now starting the final for round 7 of the ARC Championship here, again at Sainte Croix. First place, again, Alex Rogers, Bauk 21 second, Swifty Logo third, CJ 2041 fourth, and Dan's 303 rounding out the top 5. I will go on board with the leader for the start.
We'll go ahead and sit mid-pack here with Dan's in 5th and see how the start's going to go.
Now The lights are on and they're off as they're away. Alex Rogers in the lead, a little bit slow as you see Balk 21 cutting across, blocking off the Swifty logo. CJ 2041 looking up the inside, going to go 3 wide into turn 1. CJ 2041 looking to take the lead in the very first corner as he's looking farther back. Swifty logo dropping some positions. See Balk 21 taking the lead. Matt Wing a little bit of contact midway through the corner as the GTR is looking very strong here in the race. Alex Rogers now looking dropping back to second, CJ in third as we're 3 wide through the flat out right hand sector. Swifty logo fourth, the Dance 303 in fifth, Matt Wing in sixth. The Dance 303 now trying to close the gap as much as he can to Swifty logo, trying to get by him as we see Lemon Pen driving, making a dive for sixth place. Maybe a little contact, not quite. I see Alex Rogers now right on the back of Balk 21 as we enter the back straightaway. They go through the left hand kink. Alex Rogers might look for a move here into the hard braking zone. He's right in the draft. You see Balk 21 possibly going a little defensive. Alex Rogers might say, no, I'll take the outside, go for an undercut to the corner, but maybe not quite. Just Swifty logo battling for that third place, taking the position. Great pass from him. CJ21 starting to fall back towards the clutches of now. We see Matt Wing and Lemon Pen behind them. And you're going to go on board with that pack. A lot of battling here within the first few corners of the race. Alex Rogers getting very close to that arm post of logo, now trying to hold off CJ and Dan's. You see CJ going to look for the inside out of the, out of the bridge corner. If you see the now leaders, Balk 21 holding off Alex Rogers on the exit of the corners. There's a bit of contact there with CJ, caused him to get a little swirly exit of that corner. Matt Wing trying to look around the outside of CJ, maybe trying to look for an undercut here into the tight right-hander. Still see Swifty logo holding off Dance 303, and Alex Rogers still right in the back of the leader, Balk 21. As we see Dance 303 making that move on Swifty logo. Great move by Dan's there. As we see farther back in the field, Matt Wing back in 6th place from his grid position. Dark Reef Star still back in 8th. As CJ makes a little bit of a mistake in the braking zone, dips a tire off the track into the dust. It's going to cost him and put him in, and now into the clutches of Matt Wing. Still so much action going on. Alex Rogers still right on the back of Balk 21. Dance 3 defensive into turn 1 against Swifty logo in the Beetle. Holding the position. CJ 21 now closing the gap to the back of Swifty logo. I'm going to go on board with the hood can with him. As we look behind him, we see Matt Wing all over the back of the GTR of CJ now. Balk 21 you see are in the foreground holding off Alex Rogers for the lead. We see Matt Wing now looking up the inside of CJ 2041 for 5th place. Not quite going to get that done. That allows Lemon Pen to catch up now to the back of Matt Wing. So much action in the first few laps here of the round 7 of the ARC Championship. We see Swifty logo now right on the back of Dance 303 in the back straight. Going to look for the outside, touches the rear quarter panel. That was a little bit of a touch. I don't know if the stewards will like that one. We see Swifty logo now up into 3rd place around the outside of Dance 303, but Dance will be hard on the brakes as Swifty logo makes a mistake and touches the wall. That's going to allow CJ and Dance 303 to go by. Matt Wing might look for a move here, but he's not quite close enough to get that done as Swifty logo falls back to 5th, but hard on the brakes around. Look at the inside of CJ 24. We're not going to get it done as we see Matt Wing on the outside of Swifty logo into bridge. Great move by Matt Wing.
Yep, there's a lot of action going on right now. Swifty logo trying to make those moves, making a little bit of mistakes. Matt Wing is going to improve to 5th place here, and CJ is going to improve into, well, he's not really improved. He stayed in 4th. He's been battling for that position. Dan's is making a drive, though. He's gone up into 3rd place. Swifty logo not having a good time right now as he's been squeezed out of basically 3 positions.
Great racing by all the drivers in the first 2 laps here at the ARC Championship. Fairly clean, a little bit of rubbing, but nothing rubbing is racing as it is. Still some close racing between the mid-packs. Alex Rogers still right on the back of Balk 21. A little bit of a gap as we see CJ make a very big mistake in the last corner. Dipping again that right rear into the dirt, costing him through that corner. However, the GTR will make up the difference on the straightaway. Might possibly look for a move, and he does. He's going to look for the inside. Dance 303 for 3rd place into turn 1. However, the GTR is going to allow him to do it. He's going to get that done, but Dance 303 holds the outside. Maybe a little bit of contact, but to keep it clean. CJ 2041 moving up into 3rd place.
Yep, the GTR is holding off that Lexus. Not having a great time with its understeer. Did get a little bit of rub onto that Lexus, but it didn't unsettle Dan, so it's all good. Rubennn's racing as they come into this next corner very fast. Looks like they're just going to slot in until they can get the draft again, as we can see in the background there. Valk and Alex Rogers still fighting it out for that lead. And there's essentially like a 6-7 car train fighting for third place at this moment.
And now that things have settled out a little bit, let's go back and look at the start of the race, and then we'll go back on board with, let's see, CJ 2041 here on the start of the race. You see all the 4 and 5 lights come on. Now we're going to see the start from CJ 2041. Good start from him. Going to go up the inside of his team. Now around the outside of Swiftly Logo into turn 1. We're going to see him go 3 wide into turn 1. Going to see behind him, again, another 3 wide between Matt Williams, Swiftly Logo, and Dan's 303. Not a lot of contact between these drivers. Fairly clean. Good start by them. And we're going to try to go back on board with a start from a different driver here. PSN towards the back of the field. We'll see how he can do on the start.
Yep, it's very interesting to see. The PSN is currently on the back of Swifty Logo. He's going to look onto the inside. Is he going to get the move done? Looks like he is. He's on the inside, but he goes a little too wide, too deep, and Swifty Logo comes back into 6th place. Now that's going to put Save Loy right behind him. CRubennnn is also looking for that position.
Sorry I missed some of the action. I was showcasing PSN's start of the race. Like we do see Save Loy around the outside of PSN. Rubennnn into the back of PSN, the exit of that corner, giving him a little bump, which will give him the speed to go up the inside of Save Loy into turn 1. Again, Rubennnn not very strong here at Sainte Croix. Driver we normally see in the top 3, struggling with PSN. As again, we see it looks like there's 3 wide up there for 3rd place going into turn 2. Dan's 303, Matt Wing, and CJ21 all fighting for position here.
Yep, they're all very, very evenly matched here on this track right now. They're fighting for position, and there's not a lot of room for error here. If they have any sort of mistake and they fall off the draft, it's going to make it harder for them to stay up here with this group. This group here, as long as they stay within their drafting range, they're pretty much going to be rolling with each other through these corners.
As we're seeing 3 wide into the tight left-hander, Matt Wing out braking both Dan's 303 and CJ, but going to go wide on the exit. CJ's going to look to the inside, but not going to again. Decides I'll give Dan a little bit of a bump to try and make that move for the both of them. But Matt Wing in 3rd, Dan's in 4th, and CJ in 5th. As Matt Wing gets a little bit squirrely on the entry to bridge, as Dan's 303 now passes him. It's the power of the GTR is now going to allow CJ to go on the outside of Dan's on the exit of bridge.
That is a huge power boost for CJ. You know, that Merc, he dipped the wheel into the grass. That unsettled the car, got him loose. Matt Wing was not having a good time throughout that corner, and then that just gave CJ the run he needed. He got the draft, and then he basically outpowered through the bridge. Dan's having a hard time on the straightaway, trying to fight out against that GTR. Dan's is going to have you know, he's going to be good through these corners, but the GTR is going to be one of those things as they come through to the final straight. They're going to have you know, a bunch of battles on the straight, drafting all the time, and a lot of the moves are going to come out of these corners. Who can brake better? Who can corner better? And who can save those tires better?
Definitely have to agree with that statement. But one thing to point out is there's maybe a little bit of contact going into turn 2 between CJ and Dan's. Valk 21 is currently leading the race, and his teammate CJ 2041 currently in 3rd, holding off the championship leader Dan's 303. The race were to finish as it were, CRubennnn would basically be taken out of the picture, and it would be between Valk 21 and Dan's 303, as Dan's 303 gets a little bit of a squirrel on the exit of the sweepers there. But this could easily tie up the championship between Valk 21 and Dan's 303, if not give Valk 21 the lead on it. So if CJ21 keeps holding up Dan's 303 and allows, maybe backs him up into some other people and loses more positions, this could build the championship wide open.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that, you know, maybe they're in cahoots. Well, they're obviously teammates, but you know, you never know if they are in communication during the race. They could definitely be having that in mind, where where CJ is holding off Dan's, and that's one of the things. You probably noticed that I was kind of like, who's that in the other GTR? And it's kind of we're not used to seeing CJ take Dan's for a ride here, and it's a good thing to see out of CJ. It's very, very impressive to see him this far in front, and Dan's is gonna it's not gonna let him just have it. You know, Dan's is giving him the pressure.
Dan's all over the back of CJ, as you just mentioned, keeping the pressure on. Mattwing in 5th, just waiting to see what happens. Currently on lap 5 of 21, so we're a quarter of the way through the race. If some drivers would want to make that 2-stop, you would expect to see it possibly the next 2 or so laps, possibly now or within the next lap, and look for an undercut. But we see no drivers going for it quite yet. Production 1 starts to pull away from Alex Rogers in 2nd. The rest of the field starting to smooth out as CRubennnn is now into 6th with his teammate behind him in 7th. And now a bit of a gap forming between CJ and Dan, but still the closest battle on track.
Yeah, the gap is not gonna improve very much, I think, unless Dan's makes a mistake. As long as Dan stays in that slipstream, he's going to stick with that GTR for as long as he can, and the longer he can stick with that GTR, actually is a lot better for Dan's. You know, who knows if he's short shifting? Who knows if he's trying to save gas? If he can save on not having the fuel up, he might just go for 1 stop.
Yeah, that is one thing we can see because here in Gran Turismo, as I will go on board with the leaders and have a look at their tire wear. Back 21 looking not bad on lap 6, and the leader, as he almost spins in the bridge, almost loses control of the rear end, almost bends it into the wall, but doesn't, manages to stay a hold of it. Good driving by him. Alex Rogers looking very similar on tire wear in 2nd place. CJ looking having a lot more wear, especially on the front tires in 3rd place, trying to hold off Dan's and Mattwing for that 3rd position. Dan's looking very similar with his wear. Mattwing looking very similar with his. It's CRubennnn in 6th, again looking very good. We could see him possibly going for that 1 stop on that wear. His teammate in 7th looking very worn on his tires. You might see him pit this lap. PSN looking very good on his though. We might see him go a little bit longer, but still, I'd expect a 2-stop from him. You see Savoy back in 9th place looking a little bit worn. And Dark Reeve trying to save his tires. I believe he would have served his pit lane penalty already. That's why we see him so far behind some of the other drivers. But he might try for a 1-stop, you never know.
Yep, that was a very good save by Belk. That could have been potentially disastrous.
As we see CJ now, as we mentioned, making his pit stop, going to look for the undercut on Dan's 03 and Mattwing. Lemon10 joining him in the pit lane. We will see where this puts them after Dan's and Mattwing make their pit stop. CJ is going to come out 8th place behind Save Lloyd. Lemon10's going to come out, I would expect, in front of Dark Reef Slark when he exits the pit. Yes, he does. But right now the battle is between Dan's 303 and Mattwing, so we will see if they decide to pit this lap or the next.
That is a very interesting thing. You know, CJ went into the pits. It's pretty early, considering, but that gives him a free air. The GTR just really excels on having open air to kind of just like power through the straights, and eventually he's going to catch up to Savoy and maybe get a little bit of draft that might cut down some of his times as he basically powers almost right behind Savoy, cutting down that gap to like 7/10. You know, we've got a little bit to go before we start seeing race strategies start to really bear their fruit in terms of how they're going to work out and which one's better than the other.
It's not just good for the car that CJ's open air, it's also good for the driver. And by holding off Dan's 303, that's something you have to focus on as a driver. in front of a guy and he's right on the back of you, you're not necessarily focused on hitting your marks or hitting your line, trying to make the gap. You're focused on whether, okay, he's closing me here, he's trying to make a move here, and I have to defend. But now he doesn't have to worry about that. He knows he's strong in the safe road. He has new tires. So now he can just focus on his lap, focus on hitting his marks, and try to make sure he builds that gap as much as he can.
Yeah, as we take a look at CRubennnn here, he's been making up a lot of time on Dan's and Matt Wing, now right behind Matt Wing as Bout goes into the pits. This is interesting to see. CRubennnn, is he going to dip in? No,
he decides better.
Looked like he was. Looks like CRubennnn is going to stay out. He doesn't really need to. His tire wear is significantly better. Maybe even might run a few more laps. But, you know, this is a weird decision because the GTR is eventually going to catch up, just on the straights alone. CRubennnn is a conservative type driver where he'll run lap times that are fast enough but efficient on his tire wear. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he picks up the pace to try and keep that gap away, or if he's gonna, you know, maybe hold off Bauk. You know, he's got a lot of choices here in terms of strategy. Who knows what he could be thinking right now.
And we want to mention that the undercut for CJ did work, guys. You're 2.5 seconds over championship leader Dan 303 and third. Matt Wing, you're almost a second and 1.2 seconds behind him and Lonnie Penn. There's 4 seconds behind Matt Wing. So the undercut did work for CJ. The GTR is now sitting 3rd and 4th place respectively. I would expect Bout to eventually make his way by CRubennnn on the fresher tires with a more powerful car. But we will see if it works out for CRubennnn in the end. If that one-stop strategy he normally likes to do will work out. As Alex Rogers currently comfortably in your lead right now. Currently 9 seconds over CRubennnn in second, but I would expect him to make his pit stop fairly soon instead of going for the one stop. But you never know. Some driver might decide, you know what, I got nearly 9 seconds of gap. I can go for a one stop and see if it works out for me. But we will find out if that now is on the back of CRubennnn.
Yeah, Bauk is catching straight up to CRubennnn. We're going to be coming up onto the penultimate corner, that sweeping left-hander, very hard to get right. Gonna want to try and dip a little bit onto the green turf, not too much or you get a penalty. CRubennnn hitting the wall. He's not going to have a good exit. Bauk is again probably going to overtake him on this straight.
GTR just far too powerful for the people to contend. Absolute power, as Jeremy Clarkson likes to put it, and just muscles his way by the beetle of CRubennnn.
Very good pass by Bauk. Didn't get held up too much by the beetle, and at this point is trying to get as much time as he can before Alex Rogers needs to pit.
Right now, the closest battle on track seems to be between Matt Wing and Dan's, with a second between them. Very strong showing by Matt Wing here at this race, finally starting to show his colors. Now their team isn't seen to be running the medium or one-stop medium strategy. Currently, as a champ, if the race were to finish as it is right now, the championship would be very interesting. Bauk 21 in second, CRubennnn in third, and Dan 303 in fifth. The current championship leader is sitting in 5th place with a significant gap to the leader, Alex Rogers. Alex Rogers is not a driver we would expect to possibly win the championship. He has been very strong, but he missed a lot of races after joining, so he's not really in contention. Bauk 21 currently sitting 3rd, and right behind him we have CRubennnn, who's currently in 2nd, but again, it's only early in the race. We have CJ2041, a driver who's normally not very strong, currently in the top 5, so it's a great showing from him. And the championship leader in 5th. Not to mention, Bauk 21, who is 3rd, has his teammate in front of Dan 303, who is a championship leader. So we could possibly see some team orders that possibly could blow the championship wide open. Right now, this championship is just everywhere.
Yep, and this is the second to last race of the season. This is one of those times where if it did end right now as it is, the final race of the series is going to be the most exciting. And it's probably going to be the most hard fought. However, if I am correct, they will be taking on Maggiore, which is not a strong track for the GTR. So I think Pauk wants to possibly take a win here.
As I didn't get quite to see what happened, but we see Mattwing picking up a 12-second, or not Mattwing, Dance 303, I should say, picking up a 12-second penalty on the last corner, which is going to allow Mattwing by and put him into the clutches of Lemonpen, who again also pit around the same time as CJ 2041, which is not what you want to have happen when you're leading the championship.
Yeah, that is extremely unfortunate. You know, what I think happened there is he took too much AstroTurf there, and that just caused him to get that penalty.
Yep, as we saw in the replay, just dipped 4 tires on the AstroTurf. In my opinion, that's a little bit harsh for just 4 tires on the AstroTurf. Didn't gain too much time, but the game said no. He gained 12 seconds, and well, he has to serve it, and now he's right in the clutches of Lemonpen.
Yeah, the penalty for that curve is very harsh, and this is not going to bode well for the championship standing. He needs to focus, and he needs to drive his absolute best for the next 11 laps.
Definitely would agree. And we're on lap 10 here, halfway through the race. Alex Rogers has yet to pit. However, the gap has closed significantly to Bauk in second, to almost 5 seconds now from when we last mentioned it was almost 9. And we're halfway through the race, so Alex Rogers going to go for that one stop, but the time it takes to make a pit stop here at Sainte Croix, Alex Rogers might end up falling up behind CJ 2041.
Yeah, the delta is not is pretty significant here for pit stops. I think with the current pace, as we see Alex Rogers in the background hit the pits, it's going to be interesting because the pit stop, Bauk has one more for sure. He's not going to want to run on these tires for the rest of the race. He's probably going to pit somewhere around, you know, lap 15, lap 16. How far Bauk can get ahead, and whether or not Alex Rogers gets held up by traffic is going to determine whether or not he comes out, you know, winning this race, or maybe even just finishing where he's at now, 7th.
And it's important to note he comes up behind Danes 303 and Lemonpen, both drivers who are on a 2-stop strategy, but this is for position. Alex Rogers does have new tires, but he doesn't have open air to make sure he can use that 1-stop strategy effectively. He has to try and pass these guys in front of him, which could be a mistake on that 1-stop strategy, as that will cost him time, especially when Bauk and Ruben and CJ all have to make their last stop.
Yep, as we see CJ now about 3 seconds behind CRubennnn, probably going to make up that time on slightly fresher tires than that Volkswagen is. But yeah, the traffic that as Mattwing and Dan's are fighting through this corner here into the bridge, Alex Rogers makes that pass over Lemonpen, but now he's got 2 people who are fighting for position, and Dan's is also fighting for championship points. I don't think Dan's is going to let Alex Rogers through just off of merit alone. He's going to make it difficult for Alex Rogers for sure.
And the more these two fight, the faster Alex will close the gap. It's Dance 03 now looking at the inside, but we'll put him on the outside with a tight right-hander. Mattwing doing an excellent job to close the gap to Dan's, and then managed to get by him. It's always important when you manage to pass the championship leader. As we see Alex Rogers now, just the gap closing more and more, and right behind him. This is not what Dan's wants to have happen to him, especially in the second last race of the championship, when it's this close. As Dance 303 squeezes Mattwing on the exit of the corner as much as he can, makes him put 2 tires on the grass, but gives him just enough room to make sure he doesn't put it into the wall. Very close racing.
Yep, we didn't see Dan's dump Mattwing into the wall, so at least there's some sportsmanship there. If we had seen something like that, we might have seen some words in the pits. But yeah, this is a really, really heated action right now. Alex Rogers right now, he's on a tear. He's He's on fresh tires. He's the faster one of these two drivers in front of him, but he's, you know, behind them, and he needs to figure out a way to make it past. And whether or not Matt Wing or Dan's make it easy, Alex Rogers is going to have to fight for it.
You see the train of the three of them on the back straightaway. CJ now in second place as Ruben did make his first or final pit stop. You see Dan's heavily defensive going into the hairpin here. Matt Wing on the outside, going to try and look for outbreak, possibly going around the outside. AMG not quite going to get it done. Almost putting it in the arm rope, but not quite. You see Alex Rogers going to look for an outside move on Matt Wing into bridge. Not quite going to get that done, but we might see him here on the exit of the corner, getting the power down faster when there's a fresher set of racing softs.
Yeah, as they come off the bridge, Alex Rogers didn't have the run, but Matt Wing was going to try and make that outside move, but he didn't have the grip in comparison to Dan's, and Dan's was holding him off on the inside, and basically Dan's has done a really good job of squeezing Matt Wing to run a wide racing line.
And this is exactly what Alex Rogers does not need. We're on lap 12 to 21. The gap to the leader from Matt Wing was almost 18 seconds. I don't think a pit stop here at Sainte Croix would take that long. And if Spouk and CJ make their last pit stop, that's going to hurt Alex Rogers as he'll be on more worn tires with the gap he doesn't need. I think that one stop, at least pitting when he did, and not earlier for a two-stop, has hurt Alex Rogers here. And I think it's going to be between Spouk 21 and CJ 2041 for the win.
Yep, as we see the two GTRs currently leading the race. Alex Rogers, if we follow on board again, as we saw them come out onto the straight, we had seen something very uncharacteristic of Alex Rogers, is that he hit the wall and scraped it a little bit. And that's one thing that you kind of get into as he tries to dive onto the inside on Matt Wing. Tries to squeeze in. Is he going to get it?
Yeah, he gives him a little bit of a touch, pushes him a little bit wide, but you know, a little bit of Rubens racing. And now he's on the inside for the cake, but now he has to catch Dan's 303. And the more he does this, the more he's going to wear his tires, as we will see. They're looking, they're not too bad, but the more he races, the more they'll wear, and the bigger the gap to about 21, and the lead will grow. As you see Matt Wing trying to look for the outside pass into the hairpin, but not quite going to get that done. Because now Alex Rogers has to set his sights in Dan's 303.
Yeah, as Alex Rogers finally solidifies that fourth place position, passing Matt Wing, going to be looking to catch Dan's, but it was a very uncharacteristic. You kind of, when you're driving, you kind of find it follow in a daze, and if you're in a train with someone else and they scrape against the wall, Dan's, Matt Wing, and Alex Rogers all scraped against that wall, and that was kind of a reminiscent of just kind of zoning out for a little bit and not running your own race, and you kind of just follow them through their mistakes. So not beneficial to Alex Rogers, who's going to try and possibly go for the race win here. He's still stuck behind Dan's, and Bauk and CJ both still have a pit stop to make, and Bauk is 12 seconds ahead of the second place. In fourth place, that's 18 seconds.
You see Alex Rogers now making that pass on Dan's 303 very clean, but now we see the gap move almost 5.5 seconds to CJ 2041, who did go for the undercut. So he is on heavily worn tires. We could see the gap come down even more over time. We could possibly see Alex taking that second place before the pit stop. But then we see Bauk 21 make the pit stop, and the gap to him is still 18 seconds. That hasn't closed, which is not what Alex wants to see. I think this race is purely in Bauk's hands.
Yep, Bauk has got the best strategy going on right now. Well, it's not. He's got good pace. However, how the race unfolded was probably the best way it could for him. Alex Rogers is getting held up by traffic, and that's not helping his chances to try and race win. And Dan's now in fourth. He has improved from his position previously, but this is still a significant dip in position with CJ in second. Those are points that he could be having but you know, CJ is up there, giving him a run for his money.
I think it would have been smarter for Alex to make the pit stop when Block 21 did, because then they'd still be close and be on the same tire wear, and they'd still have another stop to go. Just one stop, at least times what he did, was the big mistake. If he had done it when he had the 9-second gap, it possibly would have worked out for him, because he would have been 4 seconds ahead of Dan's 303 and Matt Wing when he came out of the pit, or at least right beside them. But he pitted too late, waited too long, and just put him in traffic, and it hurt his chances. As even now when he has clean air, his tires are so worn that the gap still doesn't come down. It's still about 18 seconds.
As we see Balk now into the pits with 2% of gas. Let's see how much this affects the pit stop. Alex Rogers is coming around this corner now. CJ21 also coming in for the pit stop. This is going to be interesting. How far ahead is Alex Rogers going to come out? He might come out ahead, but he's going to be on worse tire wear in comparison to Balk.
Yeah, he does come out ahead, but only 3.5 seconds. With Balk on fresher tires and a full tank of fuel, I don't think Alex Rogers is going to be able to hold off Balk for roughly 7-8 laps. I don't think it's going to happen. Right now we have CRubennnn in third, so again, don't count out CRubennnn. He does have a significant gap to CJ in fourth, but CJ will have the newer tires. We do know the GTR is strong here. So we will see if this works out in their favor. We have Dark Reef Slugger, a driver we haven't seen a lot of. A driver who is on a one-stop strategy, but will have to make another pit stop as he is almost out of fuel, currently in 5th place. Dan's 303 comes out 6th, as when Dark Reef makes his pit stop, he will move up to 5th place. But both Balk and CRubennnn are currently in front of him. It'll be interesting to see what happens here with the change control, to say the least.
It's a big, significant time right now. We're on the last, quarter of the race right now, with 6 laps to go, and Balk is trying to chase Alex Rogers for the win. CRubennnn is in third. Probably going to be content with this position, but CJ can definitely make a case for chasing down CRubennnn. And if Dark Reef Slark is any teammate, he would definitely let Dan's through. Probably would pit this lap, and Dan's is going to have his work cut out for him, trying to catch back up with no draft to hear of. He's fairly far away from CJ. He doesn't have Matt Week to battle with anymore, but he doesn't have a lot of straight line speed in that Lexus.
I think the interesting thing right now is whether Balk 21 can close the gap to Alex Rogers and make the pass, which I expect him to, especially as Alex's tires wear out throughout the course of the race, and whether or not CJ will be able to catch up and pass Ruben. We do know Ruben, again, he's basically on new tires with his tire wear, as he just made his pit stop only a few laps ago. So it'll definitely be interesting. This could work easily in Ruben's favor. He could take the 3rd place, and that would hurt Dan's 303. But we could see the top 3 right now. It's just entirely whether CJ can close the gap and if Balk can pass Alex Rogers.
And that was another thing that I kind of missed a point on, was CRubennnn is also up there, which is Balk, CRubennnn, and Dan's are your top 3 right now. Like I said, Balk wants to win because Maggiore is going to be difficult for that GTR. CRubennnn and Dan's are going to absolutely crush Maggiore. So the one thing for the Team GTR is that they need to go ahead and get their points now while they can.
And again, to point out, CJ is in front of Dan's. So if CJ decides, you know what, I want to get as many points as he can, maybe I can slow down Dan's a bit, throw him into the back of Matt Wing, maybe let Matt Wing take that at 5th place. Well, it could easily happen. We don't have any rules in the ARC saying team orders aren't allowed or drivers aren't allowed to do that. It's not very sportsmanlike, but it is within the rules. So we have yet to. We will see. Like, we have 5 laps remaining here at round 7 at Sainte Croix. We're gonna have to see what happens.
Yep. The race has been settled for the last few laps. Not a lot of battles going on with that second set of pit stops. The closest battle that we can see here is Bauk making a tear to try and catch up to Alex Rogers. That 3-second gap now down to 2.2.
Cameras here. Bauk 21 is doing his best. His best lap time right now is 2:76. I'm not quite sure when he set that, or if that was in this stint or the last. But he actually, no, guys, I correct myself. His fastest lap, as it says on the left-hand side of the screen, the 2:06.9. So Bauk is absolutely pushing like a madman to get his first race win here in season 1 of the ARC Championship Series. In the course of the last lap, he has closed the gap to Alex Rogers in the lead by about a second. But there's still 4 laps to go. It's one thing to catch him, it's an entirely different thing to pass him. Although we do know GTR very strong in straight line, especially when compared to the Porsche, and there are some very long straightaways here, so it might be easier than not for Bauk 21 to take the lead of this race. But it'd still be interesting to see if Alex makes it a little bit difficult.
Yep, Alex is definitely going to probably run defensive as the gap now runs 1.9 seconds to Alex Rogers following Bauk. Bauk is catching. I expect him to be on the tail end of Alex Rogers, if not at the end of this lap, the end of the next lap. And once Bauk gets into that draft, Bauk can easily get aggressive for that inside line for whatever corner he wishes. And it's just up to the grip of the GTR and respectful racing at that point to try and make that pass.
I would have 100% agree, as the gap now is 1.5 seconds, so it has come down by about a second over the course of 1 lap. So one would expect within the next lap or so for Bauk 21 to possibly try and make his move for the lead of the race. So again, I want to move back on towards CRubennnn, who is currently in 3rd place. He does not need to make another pit stop. He's good on fuel. He has a 7.5 second gap to CJ in 4th. So unless CJ can close that gap within the next 3 laps, which I don't see that happening, I would expect CRubennnn to take that 3rd place. Again, his tire strategy working out for him. Right now we have Dancer3 trying to close as much as he can to CJ 2041 and 4th. The gap between them about 3 seconds. But both of them are they pit at the same time, so are on the same kind of tire wear, so I don't expect that gap to close that much, and Matt Wing is almost 5 seconds behind Dan's. So other than the lead, I expect this race to pretty much finish where they currently are.
Yep, I expect the race to sort of close up a little bit in the mid-pack as tire wear goes on and some mistakes might be made. But following back onto Bauk, he is now within a second breath of Alex Rogers, breathing right behind Alex Rogers in that portion. The GTR is tearing through those straights.
We go on board Alex Rogers on the roof and look behind him as we're going to see Bauk just using the power of the GTR, and now within the draft of the Porsche 911 to just close closer and closer to the back of it. As they're going to approach the start-finish line, which is one of the longest straights here at Sainte Croix. The GTR will be strong. So we will see. This could change the outcome of not only the race, but possibly the championship. Bauk 21 could potentially take the lead of it, especially with a 1 position gap between CRubennnn, who is in 3rd, but sitting 2nd in the championship, as we see Alex Rogers go defensive. Bauk 21, the power of the GTR, trying to go for a pass on the outside. Not quite going to get it done. Possibly going to look for an undercut. Possibly. Not quite going to get it done. Still 3/10 between them. right-hander here, turn 2. A little bit of a lift on the throttle, but still trying to keep it as flat as he can. We'll see how he can stay in the draft of Alex throughout this sector, as they're going to approach this tight right-hander now, or left-hander, I should say. Closing up in the braking, but now he's on a straightaway, and he's within 3/10 of Alex Rogers on the exit of that corner, so I would expect about to completely make a mockery of the 911 here on the straightaway, as he has the inside for the kink, and he takes it.
Fairly easy move there. Now all it is ensuring that Valk defends this position for the next 2 laps, which
as we see Alex Rogers going to look in the inside of the exit of the corner, but not quite going to get it done. It's going to make Valk go defensive into the bridge. It's going to compromise his exit. And we see Alex Rogers trying to get on the throttle as soon as he can, but again, we have another long straightaway here, which will allow the GTR to use stretch its legs. We expect Alex to make a move on the exit of bridge. Again, Valk 21 defensive on the entry to the corner, which will compromise his exit through a slightly more twistier section, which might favor Alex Rogers here. But now the gap growing, 3/10, almost 4/10 now. I believe that was the move. I don't expect to take it back. Valk 21 now has the lead of the race with 3 laps to go.
Alex Rogers trying to get as much grip as he can and put on the throttle as early as he can, but with that tire wear, it's not enough. He's not getting that grip that he needs. And now we can see Alex Rogers sliding through the corners, and Valk is just running away now. That gap is now up to a second.
And see Ruben in third. The gap between him and CJ has dropped by about a second. But that's still 6 seconds between them, as we do see CJ in the background of the shot. But it's not quite close enough, because there's now 2 laps remaining here at round 7 of the ARC Championship Series. I expect Ruben to finish third, be about 21 in first, slowly building a gap to Alex Rogers in second. CJ 2041, the other GTR driver, in 4th place. Great result from him so far, a driver we normally see towards the back of the pack. Finally showing his strengths. Stands for the championship leader. Not a good race from him, sitting in 5th place right now with the drivers he is fighting in the championship. Currently in front of him, Matt Wing, who was currently putting the, or I should say was, putting the fight to the championship leader earlier on in the race, sitting 6th with a significant gap between him and the championship leader, Dance 303. Lemon Pen, a driver we haven't seen too much of in the course of the race, sitting 7th. Dark Reef Slark, a man who had a 3-position grid place penalty and had to serve a drive-through penalty, sitting currently in 8th place. We have Swifty Logo in 9th, and then last place was My Savoy, who had a disconnect.
Yeah, I want to take a moment to talk about Swifty Logo and his performance today. He qualified 3rd and now is currently running the race in 9th. Nothing to say about whatever situations might have happened, but you know, we usually see Swifty not very high up in the grid in the races or in quality, but he showed that he could definitely put a fight to the leaders with his qualifications. And now, you know, I'm just kind of wondering, was it, you know, a fluke, or was it just kind of like, did he not practice enough to run a consistent race around Sainte Croix?
Probably a multitude of factors. Again, as you mentioned, Swifty, not usually the best in qualifying, but he did qualify 3rd here at Sainte Croix, which is weird for a Beetle. We know they're not very strong, especially compared to cars like the GTR, who is currently in the top 5. 2 of them are in the top 5. But Swifty Logo, it could easily have been that he caught the draft of the faster car in qualifying, and that's why he qualified well, or it could have just been that one miracle lap. I've raced in the past, and I've known some drivers who can qualify well just by sitting that one really fast lap, but then it comes to the race and they just can't do that lap time and time again, and we see them fall down the curve, we see them make small mistakes, dipping a tire, braking a little bit late, and those things add up over the course of the race, and that easily would have happened to Swifty Logo. it could have been contact early in the race, could have been a significant mistake. I'm not quite sure. We haven't paid too much attention to him, but it could just be a multitude of factors why he falls back. He had a great start, and we saw in the practice start, but in the final of the race, we did see him drop back at the start. He wasn't able to fight with the top guys.
Yeah, when I saw Swifty logo up there, I was very, very excited to see what he could do, and I hope the next time that he races here at Maggiore, he will also put up the fight, because he does seem like he's a very good driver. So I definitely hope to see him in the next round fight the leaders and maybe even run foul for some of the championship fights.
As we're on the last lap, going towards the last corner, about 21, who's been strong here the entire session, from qualifying to the race. It's finally been around the last corner, towards the checkered flag, and finally pick up his first win of the ARC Championship Series. So we see
He's definitely elated there.
As we see Alex Rogers taking that second place, we're going to see CRubennnn on his one-stop strategy, finally being able to make up from his poor qualifying result to take home that third place. We're going to see CJ2041 of his best result this season in the top 5, getting that 4th place. Your championship leader, currently going to finish 5th place. We're going to see Matt Wing going to cross in 6th place, a man who was fighting the championship leader in the beginning parts of the round. And then not a strong race from him. A man who won at Bathurst is going to finish the 7th here at Sainte Croix. Dark Reef Slark, a man who hasn't been here for 3 races but has several penalties to make up. Going to finish 8th. Swifty Logo, the man who we just talked about, now going to finish the back of the pack in 9th. And again, we have Save Loy, who did not finish due to a disconnect.
Yep, Save Loy running an injury that played another part in his disconnect. So hopefully he feels better if that is the case.
But again, congratulations to Bauk21 finally scoring his first win in the ARC Championship Series, scoring the points that he definitely needs to take the lead of the championship over Dan's 303 and possibly CRubennnn. The last round of the championship will definitely be interesting. We'll take a break now as we try to find some drivers to give you for a post-race interview. Thank you for watching, and we'll be right back in a bit.
Hey, so good finish there. This is CJ, and I've also got Bauk here. This is Team Nissan. Um, so you guys finished very well this round.
Yeah, I'm really happy, to be fair. It's the best finish I've had. Did well in qualifying. This track favours me. The car is obviously quite good around this track, so it's been a good race overall for sure.
Yep, and how do you feel about it, Bauk?
Yeah. So, no words of it's real close. Alex was proper quick for the car he had. Like, our car was definitely an advantage. Like, we were doing practice, and I think the fastest I've done in practice was no 6.7, whereas Alex managed no 7.4, I think, as fastest. So we knew we had an advantage, but he still managed really well. Like, he was proper fast. So
Yep. That is your first win in the series. How are you feeling?
Yeah. Finally, like, I've been kind of cursed for getting I've been kind of cursed for getting like 3 second places in a row, and Monza was really close. Like, I was 0.7 seconds off Ruben, who eventually won on his one stop. But yeah, really happy.
Yeah, sorry.
Yep. Ruben, you had a really interesting race. You didn't qualify very high, but you finished third. Obviously, your legendary tire wear. How are you feeling about finishing third?
Yeah, before this race started, I was all about, limiting the damage that Dance could do, and Kevin as well, because he's also close in standings. So I was just trying to limit the damage. Sorry, that's all actually. But that one stopper did very well, luckily. So I'm sorry, CJ, but you deserve that third spot.
I was hoping for it. I was feeling like I could catch up with you, but the kind of lap, when I came out the pits on 17, 18, 19, you were still holding a really good pace. I only really started to gain some proper seconds on you in kind of the last 3 laps. Fair play to you, mate.
Yeah, man, GG.
Yeah, very, very action-packed race, and now we've got Alex Rogers in here. Alex, how are you feeling? You were basically making a case against Bauk for the first start of the race, and through your pit strategy, you were having an interesting time. You almost made it work to the end. How are you feeling about your second place?
That's a good little result. Can everybody hear me okay, by the way? I haven't tested my mic.
Yep, you're good.
I was like following Bauk. I had a bad start again because that's just life. It's an okay start. I was following Bauk. I was kind of catching towards the end of the 7 laps, and I just kind of thought on the fly right there. I thought, well, so I just try and one stop because I couldn't beat him on pace. So yeah, I just thought might as well just try something different. It nearly worked. When I came out of the pits, I don't know if you guys caught it, but I got caught up in a battle between Mattwing and Dan's. I think I might have lost about 3 or 4 seconds there, which I think ultimately might have been the difference between winning and coming second, or at least having a battle sort of right on the last lap, rather than it being sort of decided 3 laps before the end.
Yeah, it was very, very close. It was fun to see the battles going on. You had Mattwing and Dan's to fight in your one-stop strategy. How do you think that came into play into maybe not winning this race and getting second?
What, coming out behind that battle?
Yes, battling Dan's and Mattwing for position.
It might have affected it. It might not have. I probably could have had another 3 or 4 seconds, like I said, but I mean, ultimately, Bauk would have probably still got me on a straight somewhere anyway. So yeah, I was kind of battling against that the whole race. I could have maybe scraped it. It would have been very, very close on the last lap if I was to have won it. But yeah, I think that ultimately probably made it a little bit easier for Bauk than it could have been.
Yep.
But he drove a great race, so I mean, complete congratulations to him. Nobody was catching him today, so unless they got really like inventive with what they were doing. So yeah, fair play to him. Yeah, it was good.
All right. So next round we're going to Maggiore. Let's go ahead and start with Team Nissan. Bauk, how are you feeling about that track?
We're gonna get fucked. I could tell you, it's not. We're probably not gonna do that bad, but we're gonna do well.
I think.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting though because the top 3 guys are all really close in contention with each other. Dan's, Ruben, and Kev, Bauk. It's going to be a really, really tight finish, I think, and it's going to be interesting to see. I think Dan's has still narrowly got the lead now, but he needs probably like a 5th or 6th place finish at least. We'll have to do the maths and figure out where people need to finish to get the win.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be interesting. I know I've driven the GTR plenty of times around that track, and I know how much it's an awful experience. CRubennnn, how are you feeling about Maggiore for the next round?
I'm already nervous, boys. Because I really want to contend for that first spot, but I know Dance is such a solid guy when it comes to racing. It's gonna be very tough to beat him there. But of course, I wasn't a good sportsman if I didn't try everything to pull it off. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Sounds good. Alex Rogers, you're not very much into the championship standings, but you could play foul for the top 3 right now with CRubennnn, Bauk, and Dan's. How do you think that might come into play for next round at Maggiore?
Well, I guess we'll see. I'd love to see, like CJ said, figure out where everybody's got to kind of finish. And then, I don't know, we'll see. I'm led to believe the Porsche is pretty good around Maggiore, so yeah. We'll just have to see what happens. I mean, if there's a battle for 1st and 2nd and have to sign the championship, I don't know. I'll see how I feel, but yeah. Yeah, I might have to restrain myself in a couple of areas if I've got the pace, of course. I don't know. I haven't actually tested the track in the car yet, so we'll have to see. I don't know how I'd figure in it at all yet. I mean, I might be running down in 8th for all I know, so yeah.
Yeah, but with your pace, I can expect you know, it's gonna create a lot of drama, and I think where you place is going to maybe be the decider for the championship in comparison to that top 3.
Yeah. So I'm taking donations basically. So whoever wants to pay me the most, if I want to give them some positions back towards the end of the race, I'm cool with that. I'm joking. That's not going to happen. Yeah, we'll just have to see how it kind of plays out. I like I said, I mean, who knows where we're going to end up? The Porsche might be super quick. I might be in 1st or whatever, and then it might just be between the other guys to kind of sort it out between themselves from there. But if I'm mid-pack, I'm not gonna be punting people off to get a win if there's championships involved.
All right, sounds good. So that's all the time we have for today. Thank you everybody for joining.
Cheers, Kobu. Cheers, Lateral.
All right, and that will conclude our broadcast here for round 7 of the ARC Championship from Sainte Croix. Thank you all for joining us for this lovely day and lovely race. We hope to see you next time, and as always, keep racing.